Ahsoka, Episode 7, Dreams and Madness. I kind of have the same feeling with this episode that I've had probably last episode too. It just kind of feels the same, and it kind of just feels like we're in the same place, story-wise, and it doesn't really go much further, but we do get a little bit more development, so let's get to it. We do actually catch back up with Hera on Coruscant, so we do get to see Coruscant. Every shot of Coruscant they do, even in these new shows, still looks pretty cool, at least the wide shots of the planet itself, especially something like this. It looks pretty cool. But obviously we saw where Hera was going to go and possibly get her rank stripped because she was abusing her general power. So she's back in the New Republic, and this whole scene count felt weird, and once again it's just kind of annoying. It's literally just a continuation of this feud between Hera and this random asshole who needs to just be an asshole for no reason, really. They just gotta have some man speaking down to her, speaking shit to her because, screw Hera, right? You gotta have this one guy that's gotta be a total asshole to her. Kind of frustrating because he's so downplaying the whole threat of Thrawn, which they literally just saw how Hera ended up literally seeing a conflict at this place that she went to find, Sabine and Ahsoka. She went there against orders, but then they ultimately did realize that there was actually some sort of issue going on there. Once she went there, she realized there is something that did happen there. There was some sort of situation that was happening there, and yet they still try to ignore the threat that is yet to come with Thrawn. So it's really annoying because, oh my god, it's so frustrating. The New Republic is absolutely ridiculously stupid. I don't know why they're playing them this way, in this such a weird way, but before Hera can have her rank stripped, we get another cameo. And it's always fun to see C-3PO. I mean, you know how C-3PO is. So this one, it's fun to see 3PO. It's fun to see him. But they brought him in as kind of this guy to help out Hera in the moment, because Hera is literally about to have her rank stripped, or her power stripped from her, and she's not going to have power anymore for the time being, her general rank, and she needs like a good word, and there's some good word that 3PO walks in with. He's like, oh, I got this information right here that I can give you guys from Senator Organa herself, Senator Leia Organa. And, Leia Organa, she's here to help Hera. She's got this information for her. She's here to help Hera and, prove that, Hera was actually in good faith and she was right all along. And it was revealed that Hera just kind of made it up, and she probably made 3PO end up doing this whole thing of like walking in and pretending to have some information to kind of throw in their face a little bit and just show like, oh yeah, buy her a little bit more time. So in reality, it doesn't seem that Hera is getting help from Leia yet, but I saw it more as, I thought when they mentioned Leia a few episodes ago that we could have actually seen Leia. They've done the deepfake stuff before with Luke. They could have done it again easily, right? I mean, they did it quite a bit in that Book of Boba Fett episode. You could have had a quick scene with Leia, and it just kind of felt like a cheap way to just not have Leia in a scene, but literally have her be part of the story in that way. I didn't really like that part because I would have really liked to see Leia. Maybe have Leia and 3PO walk in. Like, why not? Why not? Look, I want to see Luke Skywalker. I want to see Leia Organa. I want to see Han Solo. I'm kind of at this point with Star Wars where I just want to see those three on screen again. I like a lot of these other characters. I like the Rebels characters. I like Ahsoka. But man, you do reach a point where you feel so disconnected from the characters that should be so heavily important, especially in this time period. And it's just so weird. It's so weird that we're continuously just not seeing them at all. And I'm kind of tired of it. We'll see how far it goes going into these future shows in this movie that Filoni's going to do. Maybe Luke will show back up and stuff, but I just want to see the main three. And that they should have given it to us in the sequels, but that's another whole story. So again, Mon Mothma, she talks to Hera and she's like, how serious is the threat of Thrawn? How serious is it really? Because Mon Mothma is going to be the only one that's taking Hera seriously, and unfortunately she can't do anything about it because the New Republic is shit at their job. So that's that. We cut back to Ahsoka. Finally, we actually get to see Ahsoka in her show, and she's training, just kind of like swinging her lightsabers around in the training area of her ship. She's got a hologram of Anakin. It's like 20 different holograms that she said she had of Anakin that let speak to her and talk, train with her and teach her little lessons and stuff while she's like doing her different moves. And it's cool to see Hayden again. We knew we were going to see him again because of that audio of him talking to Ahsoka like she's training with him. That was in the trailers, and we hadn't heard that yet. So this might be the last time we see Hayden as Anakin in this episode or in this show. Now, I don't know if we'll see him again now, but we did know we would see him again in some way. But we did get to see Anakin again. Very cool to see that. I like that. But it really wasn't much. It was just kind of like talking about Anakin again, basically another scene to show Anakin. And Ahsoka, at the end of that episode with Anakin, she really seemed like, okay, this is a character that can start to feel a little different. She's reborn in some weird way, right? And she's dressed in all these white robes now, and maybe her mood is a little bit more happy. I've seen a lot of people mention that, maybe she could be a little bit happier now, and a little bit more upbeat like Ahsoka used to be. No. She's pretty chill still. She's just kind of standing around, talking slow, and just kind of there. And it's fine. Rosario's still okay as Ahsoka, but it's like nothing really changed. She still feels like the same Ahsoka that was there before she came out as this whole white robed Ahsoka, and she's like reborn. She feels the exact same so far. It's kind of weird. But they make it to the planet in the space whales, the Purgle. They end up running across a bunch of mines that are actually around the planet. So they obviously, Thrawn and the Empire's got their area very much guarded, and they got a bunch of mines that the Purgle start running into. Eventually the Purgle like zoom off and get away from the mines, so Ahsoka and Huyang have to fly around in the mines. They get through the mines, and then they have to go through and escape a bunch of the Imperials who start chasing them. So they have to go through the belt of the Purgle bones and stuff that we saw, and it's some cool starfighting scenes for sure. Ahsoka ends up hiding out and escaping them for the moment. And that's kind of where Thrawn ends up coming into it. So we do cut back to Thrawn. And Thrawn is learning some stuff about Ahsoka. So he finally brings the connection that Anakin Skywalker is her master. And he's like, okay, I can kind of maybe assume what we might be playing with now. What kind of person we may be interacting with and dealing with here. And I think that's kind of cool. I think all the Thrawn stuff, even though I have my issues with how Thrawn looks physically, just how they made Lars Mikkelsen look as Thrawn, I just don't think it has the presence like Thrawn in Rebels even did. But besides that point, I think all the scenes with Thrawn in this episode were probably the best parts of it. I think it was trying to show off his strategic side to him. Obviously, he's like this super genius Imperial strategist, just what this character is. He's supposed to be super intelligent in that way, and they're trying to show it off a little bit here with him understanding maybe a little bit of Ahsoka and just his battle tactics and what he's going to do. So I think that's cool. We got to see him interacting and just kind of mentioning the Morgan Elsbeth that like that if she is like her master, then she will do this or this. And he's now playing it off as he knows now that Anakin, and he knows that Vader was Anakin, that this was her master, and he's going to play it accordingly. So that's kind of cool. So obviously Ahsoka and Huyang, they kind of park on a little chunk floating around in the belt, and they're hidden for the moment. Thrawn actually called off the attack because he realized who this was and who her master was, so he's trying to play it a little differently now. So he's letting her wait, and he's going to try finding Ahsoka a different way. So we do cut back to Ezra and Sabine. As a Rebels fan, I hate saying this, they are the worst part of this show. And I had a first good vibe with Ezra at the end of the last episode, but what they're doing with Ezra in this episode this week, I don't like at all. And Sabine is continuously being the worst part of the show what's new, right? We do cut back to them. We also get to show the Night Sister witches again, and they're obviously helping Thrawn. Thrawn said he needed their help last episode. I thought we were going to see some like really crazy witchcraft stuff, and in reality, we don't see much of that at all. It's just them trying to help Thrawn find Ahsoka. So Ahsoka is trying to reach out in a different way because they're unable to scan where Sabine might be on the planet. So Ahsoka goes to the Force. And immediately I'm like, oh no. Oh my God. Here we go. Sabine and the Force stuff again. And I knew they were going to do more of it. It's so inevitable of where they're going with Sabine's character. And I don't like it because she is not a Jedi. And I don't think she ever was meant to be until they started doing it in this show. Ahsoka reaches out in the Force, kind of like Luke and Leia did in Empire Strikes Back, that type of thing. Ahsoka reaches out in the Force, and she's like, Sabine. And then Sabine, suddenly she has this weird look on her face. Ahsoka. So Sabine's tapping into the Force. Anyways, so Thrawn finds Ahsoka, I think maybe because she used the Force. And he locates Ahsoka with the Night Sisters, so they're able to pinpoint where she is, so they continue the attack, and they draw Ahsoka out, and Ahsoka makes her way down to the planet while she's basically being chased down. We cut to Shin and Balin, and Balin Skull's character is still the most interesting part of the show. It's really weird what they're doing with him. It's still fascinating, but really weird. So they find Sabine and Ezra, and he literally sends off Shin on her own. He separates from Shin. I don't know if he abandoned her or he's done with her, but they played it off in a really weird way, and now it almost seems like that Shin is maybe mad at Balin. I'm not too sure, but she kind of really just seems separated from Balin now, because Balin ends up going on this whole thing of like, I have a different path, I have a different journey, and your arrogance or your impatience for everything, it's like you're on a different path than me. And he's like, we're splitting off now. You should go kill Sabine and Ezra and go kill them and join your new empire. While he's gonna go off and do whatever the hell he's gonna do. And obviously, last episode he was talking about all this crazy new stuff he wants to do, maybe in Peridea, in this new place, and he wants to do his own thing. And I think that's interesting because I want to follow Balin in this new galaxy and this new planet. I want to follow his story more than really anything else going on right now. I think his stuff is really interesting, but I still think it was weird how suddenly he's like, okay, Shin, you go off and do that. I'm going to go off and be my own person now. Very weird. So obviously Ezra and Sabine, I think, are the worst part of the show, and I hate it because I like these characters from Rebels. I hate Sabine in this show, and I really like Sabine in Rebels, and I hate saying this, but Sabine is so frustratingly annoying in this show, and I just don't know why. It's just everything they're doing with her is to like make her the most important person of this show, even beyond Ahsoka. She's like the bestest ever, and it's so annoying. So Ahsoka comes in, she flies down the ship, she literally hops out. You got a little shot of her hopping out of her ship. She's all fine, of course. While Huang gets lower to the ground, she confronts Balin. Balin's there to fight, so we do get a Balin versus Ahsoka fight again. It really is inconsequential. They fight again, and it just kind of ends up being nothing. Okay, this is what I was really trying to get to here. This is my biggest problem with the whole episode. It is Ezra and Sabine with the lightsaber. Why is Ezra not taking his lightsaber? I want to see Ezra be a Jedi. I want to see him be the Jedi he was in Rebels. I want to see him be more than the Jedi he was in Rebels. And I hate it because they did establish it a little bit like, oh, this is Sabine's lightsaber now because she modified it, so now it's hers. She's the greatest Jedi ever, and now she has her own lightsaber that she never even made. She tries to hand it to Ezra. I will say that I think I like that they at least tried to show it that she's gonna try giving it to Ezra, but he's like, no, you take it. I gave it to you. It's yours now. I'm not a Jedi who needs this anymore. I can just use the Force, and I can just move things around, and I don't need my lightsaber anymore. This weapon is not my life. No, I don't need it. So that's what we're doing with Ezra now. He doesn't need his lightsaber. He's better than that. So as they do that, obviously Ezra is just gonna run around and use the Force on things and push these raiders and attackers around as they got ambushed. And I mean, some of it's cool, I guess, but dude, grab your lightsaber, man. Grab your damn lightsaber. Especially when you're fighting Shin like this. Shin comes in, obviously Balin sent her off. You're going to fight Shin, and it's cool to see him maybe block a lightsaber with the Force. Kind of cool to see that a little bit, maybe. But, like, dude, lightsaber would have really helped here, man. It really would have. So, obviously, Sabine's the one with the lightsaber, so she comes in and kind of stops that whole fight and saves the day a little bit. Because, obviously, Sabine is the bestest ever. And she gets to have the lightsaber. She gets to suddenly be a Jedi after being not Force sensitive at all. And she's the greatest, man. She's better than Ahsoka. She's better than Ezra. Balin versus Ahsoka, as I said, it ends kind of whatever. Like, Huyang comes back with the ship, blasts the area, and just kind of gets Ahsoka to get away. And then Balin's just kind of standing there looking around like, okay, I'm going to go off and do my thing now that I left my apprentice for. All right. Cool. We do get to see some shots of Thrawn every now and then, and I like that. Again, as I said, I think Thrawn stuff was the best stuff in this episode. Just his tactics, and he reveals that like I'm actually just waiting for everyone to get together, and they're wasting time doing this little battle while Thrawn is actually trying to get all these catacomb tombs loaded up onto his ship, probably like dead Night Sisters or some crap like that. That's the assumption, but he's trying to get his stuff ready to go on his ship while they're just meddling around here on the planet. And his actual plan, he says, is that he's just trying to buy some time, and he's just trying to waste time with them. So in reality, they're not coming to him to try and stop him while he's getting ready. A bunch of stormtroopers come down on some ships, and Shin's standing there like, all right, we got you. I got my lightsaber out. I'm gonna look all cool. All the stormtroopers come down, and they're surrounded, and then Ahsoka zooms in out of nowhere with this freaky look, and she saves the day against Shin, and all the troopers kind of run off. Ahsoka defeats Shin easily. Good, thank God. And she offers her hand. All the stormtroopers run off, and Shin is the only one standing there left. She's like kind of defeated and just kind of like in awe, like what's going on, because like her master just abandoned her, I guess. And now she's over there, she lost, and she's being offered a hand from Ahsoka. Ahsoka's like, I can help you. Put down your weapon, I can help you. And she just runs off, so that's that. And then we get a happy reunion, the end. Huyang shows up at the ship, and yeah, everyone's happy. That's the end of the episode. So, I kind of try to get through this quickly. It was a fine episode. I think it was probably on the same level of last week. It really wasn't much different. There was some cool lightsaber fights, I guess. Balin, it's always cool to see Balin, Ahsoka pull out the lightsabers, fight a little bit and stuff. But I'm so frustrated with the Ezra and Sabine stuff. Like, Ezra being in the show makes sense because he was there with Thrawn as they left. So, but why is Sabine there? Why is she there? Why is the entire story of Sabine and Ahsoka in this show? Why was it not just Ahsoka going out to find Ezra and Thrawn? It's called Ahsoka. Why is Sabine there? Why? I don't like it. They've ruined her character for me so far. I don't like her character now at all. It sucks. But I don't even see... I also don't see it as the same character as from Rebels at all. I just can't see it. Ahsoka's the same. Doesn't even look like she went through any change besides her outfit. But maybe we'll see a different thing next episode. I don't know. And then Ezra, he's kind of weird in this episode. Not only is he not taking his lightsaber and trying to just be all like force wieldy and stuff, which is fine, but I'd rather him have his lightsaber. It's his lightsaber. By the way, it's not Sabine's. They really try to make him all funny and jokey in this episode, which I think is fine. It kind of makes sense for his character because that's kind of how his character was in Rebels. He was kind of just a fun, running around making these jokes and stuff, and beating up stormtroopers and stuff. That's kind of how Ezra was. But you think after 10 years of abandoned on this planet with these random little crab people who we still got to have in this episode. Exciting. You think after 10 years of sitting here thinking about what happened and how your life is now, you think you'd be a little bit more humble and be like, okay, I want to use my lightsaber, come out and go all swinging as a Jedi once again and just kind of be a little different. I'd actually expect him to be a little different after this experience. But I'm fine with him kind of being the same character-wise too, like personality-wise. I mean, it's fine him not being changed really either. But dude, grab your lightsaber. It's annoying. It's annoying. So I think I sounded more annoyed in this episode than last week, but in reality, I think it's about the same. Probably like a 6.57 episode out of 10. I don't do the rankings really that much, but it was fine. It progressed the story a little bit with Thrawn. It felt kind of stalling for what Thrawn, like what we're really doing with Thrawn and him leaving. Like it kind of felt like a stalling type of thing just to kind of get Ahsoka there, but I'm not happy with the Ezra and like Sabine stuff. I'm not happy with how the Night Sister stuff was teased and then it was just them finding Ahsoka through the map real quick. I thought that was weird. But ultimately, like, man, I don't know. The last week with the last episode, I have been sitting on it and thinking about it like a lot. And I don't think I'm enjoying the episode as much as I was, or the series as much as I was after episode 4. I enjoyed episode 4 a lot, actually. And after episode 4, it hasn't been as good since then. Even the Anakin stuff, it was cool to see Anakin hated in the episode 5 with Ahsoka. But I had a lot of issues with that episode. And episode 6, I had a lot of issues with Thrawn and stuff. And now this episode, I have so many issues with the characterization of Sabine and Ezra and just some of the choices that are made. It's just, there's a lot of cool stuff. I'm not saying there isn't, but there's so many things holding it back from being like that great. And I wish it wasn't that way, but it just is. It's just the way it is for me right now. We'll see how the finale goes. That is the finale next week, but I just don't see how far we can go because obviously the Thrawn stuff is being saved. You can very much tell Thrawn stuff is being saved for some further story, like a movie or something that they're going to do with Dave Filoni. So how much can we really do with Thrawn after like he leaves? He makes it to the galaxy. Like, where are we going to go from there? And what is Sabine just going to run around and use Ezra's lightsaber and just run around using the Force now? Is that we're going to finally do that and just get it out of the way? I guess so. I'm frustrated with a lot of things. I think it could be really good, and maybe they'll fix up some stuff next week. I doubt it, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm not like super mad about the episode. I'm not like super disappointed by it. It was fine. It was fine. I just have a lot of issues with it. So we'll see what happens next week in the finale of Ahsoka, and then we're probably on a very large drought for Star Wars for a while, which is probably the best thing for it.